Go.
Hey, Scott Stankowski here from CentralWisconsinSports.net. What I want to take you through is the cleaning and the preparing of squirrel, because it's one of the best tasting meats that is out there. A good friend of mine, Paul Kirk, has constructed and made a handy dandy squirrel and rabbit cleaner thing here. And he constructed that off of using it for larger animals, which I use for taxidermy use. And I'll show you how that's done. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through the process of taking a squirrel and deboning it so there's no bones. When I was a kid, Grandma used to make squirrels and we cleaned them for her, and there were a lot of bones and I didn't like it, but I loved the taste of the meat. So since then I've learned how to debone squirrels, and that's what we're going to do here. Alright, so what are you going to need? You're going to need a bowl, put the meat in, you're going to need snips, you're going to need this right here, and if you don't have that, you can have somebody hold the squirrel legs for you. You can set it on the table. And then a knife. A very sharp knife is important. I like to use a Havalon, and it has replaceable blades for that. Okay? So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to take the squirrel and you're going to make little cuts on the back so that you can you'll end up splitting the hair on it. So you make a little cut in there like that on each squirrel. Go through that. And what I'm going to do is, instead of continuing this process, I'm going to take you through one squirrel, and I'm going to clean one squirrel and then show you how that's done. So I'll take this guy right here. Okay. So the other thing you want to do is you want to snip off the front legs. I like to keep the front legs if possible to eat. And of course I said meat is deboned, but not the front legs. You can't debone that. So then you take it and you stick your fingers right into where you had the hide, and you pull that apart like so. And Austin and I used shotguns for these things with an open choke modified. And you are going to pull the hair off as far as you can. Ooh, a couple BBs. We use heavy loads for our high brass for our squirrels because the shot barely makes it through the hide. Okay. You can get it like so, there on the back legs, and on the front legs. Peel that forward. Pull the leg out like you're pulling out a sock. One thing I hated when I was a kid was cleaning squirrels and gutting them out and getting into the guts. I just hated that. With the method I'm going to show you today, you don't have to worry about that. If a leg is too shut up, maybe utilize that. This one's got a couple BBs in it, but I think it's still good. Okay. So you get the squirrel like that, and then you can start. You don't have to take the whole hide off, cut the head off like I used to do with Grandma and stuff like that. Okay, now that you have the squirrel hanging like this, what you're going to do is you're going to take off the pectoralis major muscles there, go around the shoulder blades, get as much of this meat off as you possibly can off of each shoulder. It's easy to do it when they're hanging like this. The one thing you want to get rid of is, on every squirrel they have an armpit gland. That stinks to high heaven. So you get rid of that and you throw that away. Okay, take off each shoulder, again getting as much of this muscle as possible, and we'll soak that, scrape the blood out later. And that comes off just like that. And then you have a front shoulder. There's one. And get as much of this meat off as you can. Not a lot of meat on a squirrel, but what there is good. Okay, there's shoulder number 2, no hair on it. And the next thing you're going to do is you're going to go and find the back legs there. You're going to cut out the loins. So you're going to go there. You're going to go along each back, the vertebrae right there. Again, not a heck of a lot of meat, but there's enough. And I cut around each loin like that right there. Okay. Cut there. Grab a hold of that loin and fillet this out. Again, you might get into the guts just a touch right there, but it ain't like, and then you're not going to have any bones. Everything else that's there is just guts and bones. So you're going to do the same thing on this side here. Fillet that out. Pull it out, it'll come right out, just like so. A little bit too much into the guts there. And you have another loin right there. Okay. The next thing are the legs. The legs are what I would call fairly simple. It's a fairly simple process to do here. I'll tuck that hair up over the clamps like that. So you got this right here, see? If you want to, you can email me and I can get you in touch with Paul for these tools here for these rabbits and these squirrels. I think he charges 10 bucks a piece. I try to get him to get a patent on that. He really knows what he's doing. He does a lot of coon hunting, so that's where he picked up that, how to do that. What I like to do is fillet it out right to the bone. Go on top of the bone here. Take off the hamstrings. You got another nice piece of meat there. Put that in the container. Go down on the other leg there. Around the bone. Try to get as much of this meat off as possible. Sometimes the BBs like to break the bones, so you gotta be careful with that. Fillet it out there, like so. And again, you got a nice, good chunk of boneless meat, so you do the same thing on the other side. Fillet it out. And again, these are bite-sized pieces, so you can go back and, you know, like I missed a piece of meat over here, I'll get that later. Go back here, get the hamstring off. Get the hamstring off there, you got a nice chunk of meats. Go back to the underside here. Fillet it right off the bone like so. Make sure you get all the meat off of there. And like I said, I got a little pieces of meat up here that I can monkey around with. I'll try to save as much of every little bit that you can get. Okay, so what I'm going to do with this after we take care of all these squirrels is, and here I'll show you, this is the meat off of one squirrel. You know what? You're getting close to a meal. We usually use 2 squirrels a meal. I'm going to soak this in water and milk for a couple of days, and then we'll take you through the cooking process. All right. Thank you.